ClancyPasta presents Please Do Not Try to Summon Bigfoot on New Year's Eve, Ever. Written by ItsMeRoyale and narrated by Clancy. Dude, why did I ever agree to this? Chill, man, Tay whispered. Just a few more minutes. We sat inside of the Ford pickup waiting for the clock to strike 12:01. It was all part of the rules. They were fairly simple, actually. Find the abandoned forest near, location redacted. Wait exactly 5 hours from 7 p.m. to 12:01 p.m. Flash the vehicle's headlights 7 times before getting out. And most importantly, do all these steps on the eve of New Year's. My phone still doesn't have net here. Relax, we'll be fine. You sure this had to be done on New Year's Eve? I was very skeptical of this crap. When I picked up Tay's call a few days back, I didn't realize I was going to spend the New Year's sitting inside a truck in the middle of who knows where, looking for a fake fairy tale. Trust me, man, this is legit. Even you read the rules. It had to be today. Plus, the people on the website have done this a couple times. He paused. Couldn't hurt to try, right? You and your website better not get us arrested for trespassing. I grabbed my 10th bag of chips and chomped on them quietly while watching the car's built-in clock. The green numbers on the display now read 11:58. Get ready. Tay put his hands on the steering wheel when I double-checked our supplies. We waited a little bit more, until finally, both our phones' alarms simultaneously buzzed in our pockets, and the car clock read 12:01. Tay repetitively flashed the headlights of the car 7 times before we made our way out of the vehicle. I stepped on a thin branch, breaking it in the silence of the foliage around us. I stretched, relieved to be freed of the many hours cooped up inside the car. I heard Tay crack his knuckles before he walked over and opened the back of the pickup. I grabbed my backpack, turned on my flashlight, and felt the knife holder attached to my belt. Tay wore his backpack and strapped an LED light band to his head. He held a flashlight and pulled out a pistol. You brought a gun, huh? He smiled. Best to be prepared. I still didn't believe that any of this would actually work. My body began to feel a bit rigid as I followed Tay into the mouth of the woods. The sudden shift from the warmer climate of the car to the chilly environment outside caused the hairs on my arm to stand on end. Still, I kept playing along. The trees stretched to the sky and grew taller as we walked deeper into the darkness. The thick branches of the massive structures covered the clouds above, barely letting any light in from the moon and the stars. We trudged further, casting our lights in the eerie blackness. Oddly enough, the chirps of birds, the buzzing of insects, and the midnight owl's hoot ceased to exist. Only an ominous stillness hung in the air every step that we took along the way. Until we both heard it. We quickly froze. A deep grumble echoed throughout the trees, and it felt like it was coming from all directions. Tay propped the gun up and used his light to scan around. I did the same. Bro, you hearing this? Tay glanced in my direction. The hell was that? I kept checking my back as well as every other direction. Just then, another loud growl erupted, sounding closer. The palms of my hands were becoming clammy, and sweat began to accumulate on my forehead. Dude, I think we should leave. This doesn't feel right. Don't be a chicken. We have to see if Bigfoot's here, he replied. And if he comes after us, I'll blow the head off that son of a... Look out! I screamed, just as a large figure darted out of the darkness behind Tay. He jumped to his side just in time to avoid the creature's grasp. I stared in immense fear and awe at what stood before me. My description is simply an understatement. The creature, Bigfoot, in itself was made out of darkness, save for four lumpy, glowing eyes that protruded from the top of its furry head. The top half of the body resembled a giant hairy ape, but the bottom was completely different. Spider-like floating tentacles, too many to count, extended from the stomach portion. Each of the long, sharp extensions emanated darkness, sucking away the light from our flashlights. Dark drool seeped out of its horrendous mouth as it lashed its curved fangs at us. These were the only features I could make out before the remaining light around us began to fade away. I knew if we didn't act fast, we were dead meat. Tay courageously pulled the trigger on his gun multiple times. The bullets made contact with the creature, but barely aroused it. It only made the thing angrier. "Damn it!" Tay yelled, realizing we were done for. I tried to pull myself up, my arms and legs trembling, but they refused to work. I watched helplessly as Bigfoot's sharp tentacles snatched around Tay's legs, dragging him from the ground. Tay clawed the dirt with his hands, squirmed, and screamed for help, but to no avail. I threw my flashlight at the damn beast before one of the other tentacles wrapped around my waist. I painfully felt the sharp, rough edges of the arm dig into my skin, and I cried out tearfully. I was on the brink of going unconscious. Yet, through the shadows, I saw something dash from the corner of my eye. My eyes adjusting, I made out what appeared to be a man standing behind us, holding a bright object in his hands. Focusing, I realized his hands themselves were emanating the bright glow. Suddenly, a huge spark of light erupted in the darkness, blinding me for a few seconds. Everything occurred so quickly. I felt the tentacle release its firm grip on me, and I fell to the soft dirt with a thud. I heard a screech so loud my eardrums ached, and in one moment, my surroundings were swept underneath a blanket of pitch blackness. I woke up inside a wooden hut. I was lying on a small bed and spotted Tay sitting near a fire outside, talking to the man I saw earlier. The sky was still dark, and my head kept throbbing. I managed to get up and walk to the campfire, the flames lashing out in a warm welcome. "Look who came to." The man spoke in a soft tone as he saw me approaching. "This is Mr. Edward," Tay introduced him. "He's the one who saved us." "Thank you," I spoke tiredly. "Our asses wouldn't be alive if it weren't for you, man." Edward sighed. "I've seen many like you two enter these woods to find that so-called Bigfoot. Good thing I managed to show up in time. The others weren't so lucky." He stared at the fire for a long second. "That ain't Bigfoot, boys. It's something even worse than the legend." "What is it then?" Tay questioned. "Well, it uses your deepest inner fears to mold itself into existence. The bastard's made out of pure darkness, so it lives in the shadows of that forsaken forest, preying on whoever shows up." "What types of animals do you fear the most?" Ed asked me. The reflections of the flames glistened in his eyes. I managed to choke it out. "Spiders. Hate 'em. And giant squids." "There you go. Your friend Tay here fears Bigfoot, so I'd use that form, along with your own, to pre-exist." "Wait, so Bigfoot doesn't exist, but this thing does?" Tay asked. "Yep. Bigfoot is one of the many forms it can take. Some poor fool probably cooked up the legend and ran into this beast, making it reality." Edward looked up at the sky. It's starting to become daytime, boys. You two better be heading back. Tay and I agreed. Edward put out the fire, and we followed after grabbing our belongings. He led us through a clearing for a few minutes until we reached the pickup, still parked at the same location we arrived in. I eagerly got into the vehicle, and Tay got in after. We both thanked Edward again and started the car. Before you go, Edward stood near the passenger side window. I don't want to see you both here again, alright? It's not safe. Trust me, I replied. No way we're coming back. Good. He backed away from the window and proceeded to turn around. Mr. Edward, Tay called out last minute. How did you know about the creature in the first place? A faint smile came tugged at Edward's cheeks. I knew the rules too, kid, back when I was your age. With that, he walked away. We heard the soft crunching of leaves fade ever so slightly, until only the quietness remained. Tay backed up the truck, turned it around, and drove us back to the main road. I watched the forest behind us slowly disappear into the distance. Both of us sat in silence for about an hour, until Tay pulled over into a gas station. I watched him get out to refuel the truck, then I stared out the window at the sun that was just beginning to rise. Without notice, however, I heard Tay call my name behind me. Looking back, I saw him holding a piece of newspaper. This was stapled to the outside of the station, he told me, pointing at the sheet. I read the paper with shocked eyes. Missing student Edward Lockwood's body found near, redacted. The missing student's body was discovered mangled to pieces by the forest edge. Investigators found the remains early this morning after a frantic search was conducted by state parties. Investigators concluded that Lockwood most likely trespassed into the shutdown area for reasons still unknown. When friends and family were questioned, many responses spoke of Edward highly. The article continued, but next to it, though, stood a black and white photo of Edward himself, smiling. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed today's video. I want to give a huge thanks to all of my supporters over at Patreon and YouTube memberships. Your support makes these narrations possible, and I appreciate it a ton. If you'd like to join these lovely ghouls, you can head on over to my Patreon at patreon.com/ClancyPasta, or click the join button below to become a member. Through Patreon, you can gain access to extra videos, on-screen thanks in the end credits of every video, personal shoutouts in a special video once a month, autographed stickers, merch store discounts, exclusive Discord roles, and much, much more. And if you'd like creepy cool shirts, make sure to head on over and check out my official merch store, creepycoolshirts.com, for some awesome tees, hoodies, stickers, and more. Alright, thank you all for watching, and I hope you have a great night. Cheers.